Welcome to everyone again for the second time. But now that makes no sense if you're listening to it for the first time. So just a reminder to turn down the volume on Instagram. But we're not loving you on Instagram. Don't worry. Welcome to MEN2B on a Monday, 9 p.m. If you ever want to jump in, if you're listening back on the podcast, you want to jump in live, see our faces, add some questions in the chat for us to answer so you can hear yourself, your own questions being answered on the next podcast that gets released. And you know where to find us: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, as well as Instagram Live. So we're literally everywhere. We're like a hot rash. So once Barney gives me the thumbs up that he's sorted out his Twitch and Facebook, I'll get him on. It's magic, you see. I can see everything that's going on. But today's we'll just start with a couple of the anchoring points that we always start with, which I've not been doing this year, which I feel like I need to get back to, is the 5 levels of listening, making sure we're starting with a really good listening perspective. Those, if you've never heard them before, then you've not been here before, because I'm like a broken record. I always talk about it. Making sure we're not ignoring people. That's number one. That's the worst. Obviously, that's the opposite of listening. And then you've also got your selective listening. You know, you pretend listening, selective listening. Then you're on to the fourth one, which is attentive listening, which we're pretty good at. Hey, Alex, let's go. And then you've got that empathetic listening, which is really stepping into someone else's shoes, not really processing and putting your opinions across, and really try to step into how they feel. I'm going to get our guest on, because I'm waffling on now. I'm going to get our guest on, and we'll start getting to know him a bit better, because that's about him. But now I'm going to listen properly, you see, so hopefully he's got some good stuff to say. Ta-da! Welcome again for the second time. I need to stop saying that. Like, pretend. Because now people are watching. It's, you know, we're juggling two audiences.
People on Instagram are like, "What is going on, mate?"
We're also juggling people in the future as well. Do you know what I mean? People who are going to be listening in the future, not listening live. So you've got the present two lots of people, and then the future people as well. So, hello, if you're in the future, everyone.
This is absolutely bonkers, mate. I can't keep up. I'm trying to go on like Facebook now. I'm trying to go. I don't know. Oh my goodness! And I've got a dog barking underneath me. I mean,
it's madness. It's madness tonight. For people who don't know, Barney is actually he's like, while he's concentrating on doing a couple of things, I know a little bit about him already, because one, mental health has gone on a journey and progression of itself. So we started on Instagram Lives, and not always will they be able to be saved. So we do have a backlog of about 60 to 70 episodes on IGTV if you want to check out the original, the OG stuff. But apart from that, there was about 30 of them that didn't get recorded, isn't able to find. They're in the Instagram server somewhere that we might be able to retrieve one day, get them back. But Barney has been on before, so he might feel like he's repeating himself, but no one else feels like that. And but yeah, basically a little bit about Barney is that he does do Twitch, so he's used to streaming. He's also used to multiple cameras because he's a presenter. He does everything anyway. Right, but you take it away. I'm talking about you now when you're right here. Talk about your bloody self, mate.
Dude, pleasure to be on board once again with mental health. And yeah, it's great. I get a redo, mate. People don't get to watch my episodes. This is great. I get a redo. Yeah. I'm Barney. I used to be a dancer alongside yourself, mate. We used to work together quite a fair bit, and we have a lot of mutual friends in that kind of sector. Dance professionally until I was about 26, so about 3 years ago now. And I got injured. I got a back injury that basically caused a load of grief. I got it fixed, but then it just caused loads and loads of grief. And so my initial plan was kind of when I hit 30, maybe like a little bit more, depending on how the dancing was going. I was planning on embarking on a journey or a career path as a presenter. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. Just like entertainment. Let's just go with that. Ryan Seacrest, English version. That's what we're going to aim for.
Yeah. So you had sort of like at least an image of what you were maybe potentially attaining to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, not obviously, to people that don't know me that closely, I think that there's always been a massive part of me that's been really into video games. And that was always just like a side note. So had to embark on the career path as a presenter early on because of my injury. Plugged away for years. Radio stations. I did a radio show for a bit, did a few entertainment gigs, did some stuff with E. And it never really clicked. And although amazing experiences in themselves, it was never really something that I thought, oh, this is the one. Until I heard that esports and gaming was having such a massive impact in the world of like hosting and events, and they're having these huge tournaments, and I didn't really know about it. And as soon as I caught wind of, people are having careers as presenters in the gaming industry and hosting for tournaments, in FIFA, Fortnite, Call of Duty and stuff like that, I was like, that is 100% what I'm going for. And then it took me 2 years of knocking on doors, emailing, showing up at like agencies, literally just showing up, just try and talk to someone, because I didn't know anyone. The fortunate side of being in the dance industry, of going from, going to open auditions and stuff, you develop and you make contacts and people, and then so on and so forth. In esports or gaming, it's like a brick wall. It's just a straight brick wall. Like, you don't know people in the gaming industry or the esports industry. Getting your foot in that door is almost impossible. But yeah, it took me 2 years. Someone took a chance on me, and then I did. I was the host for Clash of Clans for the World Championships last year, which is a mobile game, if you don't know, a tactical cartoon version of Age of Empires is how I basically describe it to people. Build an army, attack someone else's base.
Yeah. So did you? I remember you saying before that the struggle was, even if you had the skill set, like you were a really good presenter, tried and tested, just like any industry, it can be quite frustrating because they wanted someone with like a historical background in esports, like as a competitor, like they've got a pedigree of gaming. So it kind of like worked in tandem. You had to like build up your fact that you can play games a bit as well. Yeah, you know what I mean, and a bit.
Yeah, which I wasn't actually adverse to, because obviously playing games, recording it, making videos and sending it off to somewhere, I obviously was like, I'm happy to. Yeah, I'll show you how good I am at X, Y, and Z at these games. But yeah, like you said, if you're in the traditional world of presenting, weirdly enough, esports falls into the category of like sports and entertainment meshed into one. So you'd think that someone that has experience in radio or in live shows or, TV or something like that would have a leg up to be able to then get into that space. When actually it almost goes against you, because people consider you not being, grassroots gaming, and it's a very protected industry, and an industry that people protect, that a few people feel very protective over, that are in the industry because they've made it from the ground up, and no outsiders is how I feel.
Yeah. Anyone that's made it in the gaming industry is literally just made it from their bedroom, right?
Yeah, they've been either like a pro player in that game and then decided to stop playing that game professionally, and then have gone forward into like hosting, or becoming a director or becoming a producer within the gaming industry, or it's someone that's either a pro player or a YouTuber who has 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Cool, let's get them in front of a live audience, and 9 times out of 10 that goes south because they're used to sitting in front of a webcam in their flat. And then you put them in front of 10,000 people in an arena. I mean, some of these tournaments, we're talking 80,000 seat stadiums in Korea, especially when they do like League of Legends and stuff like that. It's enormous, like some of the scale and the money involved as well. Like some of these people are like 16 years old and they're winning like $5 million over a weekend, and you're just like it's madness. So that's the kind of industry that I want to be in and have been in now for the past, I'd say properly for the past year. Since December 2019 was my first proper esports gig, production company in like a big kind of, in an arena in itself. It wasn't a live audience arena, but it was in like a professional arena, and it was for a company called ESL, who are the esports league. And cool. That's been awesome, man. And you're a little bit of a gamer. You dabble a little bit. We've had conversations about it.
I don't know. I used to back in the day. I say I want to find time to get back into it. I've got all the time in my hands now. It's just, I don't know. It's just habits you make for yourself, isn't it? It's habitual with any behavior. I have got a Switch, and I just never find my time to. I don't know. I just don't know what kind of games I like anymore. I think that's the problem. I don't know what kind of games I like.
I feel like by putting the brakes on there, I feel like having a Switch, you're limiting yourself anyway off the bat. There's not a huge amount of games on that console in itself. So
maybe it's time I treat myself to the next gen Xbox or something when it comes out.
Spicy, mate. I mean, it's out and it's there. Yeah. PlayStation 5, I mean, you'd be lucky to get hold of one, but an Xbox, you could definitely get your hands on one of those. Easy.
Yeah. I've always been an Xbox man, and it's convenient considering that's the only one you can get hold of at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyone that doesn't know. So basically, on mental health, you know that we speak a lot about passion.
Yeah.
And what I do actually want, I don't think we got into it so much last time, but maybe we did. I can't remember. You've done a lot of different things now. If you just quickly, for anyone who's joining in later on, the things have already been mentioned so far: dancer, actor, or model, presenter, gamer, streamer. There's quite a lot of strings to the bow in that respect.
Yeah.
How have you ever struggled with attaching like your own identity to what you do, or has it always been quite disattached, and you just knew you're just passionate person in general?
Wow, probably a mixture. Now, I think that the reason why I've done all those kinds of things they all actually fall under a similar bracket, or the same bracket. Let's just say, let's call it entertainment.
Oh, I thought you were saying attention seeking.
Hey, there we go. You should see how many likes I've got on right now. No,
but I'm putting myself under the same bracket. Like I started dancing when I was 5. Now the further I look back at it, it's like you just wanted to be eyes on me as a little kid, probably.
I mean, but this was the thing. I think this is what pissed off a lot of people in the dance industry when I actually came into the dance industry, was that I was such a newbie to everything. My first ever dance class, I was 17 years old. And everything, it was like a tidal wave of, oh my God, what have I been missing out on? So my whole 17 till 21, those 4 years in my mind, spent catching up, like let's play catch up. So that by the time I'm 21, by the time I finished uni and I'm going to start auditioning for jobs, I'm at least trying to be on the same level as people that have been dancing since they were 5. So and that was obviously putting a lot of pressure on myself, my body, ultimately, my back gave in. Caught up with me there. But yeah, I think dancer and model, hand in hand. You find loads of dancers that model, like in our industry. It was just fortunate enough that I'm 6'2", and that just kind of lent a helping hand. Videography literally came into the path of like what I do, literally purely because someone said that I had to go and get a show reel for something. And I just said, why can't I make it myself? And they were like, well, you can, but we have someone that we use. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go buy a camera and I'm going to do it myself. And they were like, okay. And then that spiraled into, can you make me a show reel? And can you make me a show reel? And then now it's kind of become, I've got enough of a portfolio to do bits of like work that's paid here and there now, which is great. So videographer kind of falls under that. And then gaming, something that I've always done since I was a kid, and then realizing that gaming and streaming is now a profession and something that people do as a career path, and then tying in the presenting thing. They all link, but it seems like jack of all, master of fuck all.
Yeah, there's a very loose theme there, but I think the theme that I'm picking up on is that you're not afraid to, go after the industry or the interest that you love and enjoy. Like, I not chase it, but you know what I mean? As in, like, people would assume from maybe a traditional mindset that, things like gaming or dancing is not a career. But I think you're living proof of what you can make. Nowadays, we're in the sort of environment where you can make a living out of doing whatever you enjoy, right?
Yeah, I think I think obviously my partner is a testament to that as well. Like, if you love something enough, you can create a career out of it, especially in this day and age. We're very fortunate to be in this day and age of the internet and all that kind of stuff that's going on online, where you can. And weirdly enough, all the people I went to uni with that were heading in that 100% trajectory towards the traditional career path of accountant, like, you name it, it's, in the city kind of situation. They're all trying to, do cupcakes, fitness, like all the stuff that we kind of fall into off the back of our career paths and stuff. And that's not like a negative like viewpoint of what they do, but I think that people had this weird brick wall up of, I can't go for what I love and what I'm passionate about as a hobby because that's too difficult. And I just kind of was like, well.
So when was the moment? When was the moment when you're at uni? You can tell us like what you studied and stuff. When was the moment that you decided, fuck this, I'm gonna go be a dancer? And how did it create any tension in your like pressures in your family or anything along that line?
I'd say like day 3 of uni. Okay, and the reason behind it is because my dad was like, go to uni, finish your studies, and then do what you want. Because I was already nagging them about I'd love to go to a dance college. Like, I found this one, it's wicked. I think I showed them Erdang or something, and was like, there's this dance college, I really want to go, I want to give it a shot. And my dad was just super hesitant, which like I could totally get it at the time. Obviously, you're a bit miffed about it, but he was like, yeah, go to uni, finish it off, and then you can do what you want. So I studied film at uni, and I thought, well, if I do a film degree, coming off the back of that, I still can tie that in to whatever I want to do, whether it be in the film industry or dancing or whatever. Yeah. I actually found that a massive help when I got into my first dance job, and I was talking to, the techies, talking to the grips, talking to the guys that are like the DOPs, and I kind of knew about that. And they were like, oh, okay, like, how do you know about this? And I was like, well, I studied film, but yeah, anyway, tangent. Let's go back. Uni. So it was. Is that the reason why you chose to do film? So you actually quite enjoyed it. I do. Yeah. I love film. Massive film buff. So I wanted to do it. And annoyingly, when I went to Nottingham University, and when I went there, it's a red brick uni, and the film degree there I thought was going to be way more hands-on, and it was just all theoretical and film history and just so not what I'm good at. And so yeah, you're learning about like nickel theatres, which is like the first ever like cinema that was created, and I was like, I want to get my hands on a camera and go and do something, and it just wasn't that kind of degree, so that was a bit frustrating. So yeah, from day 3, found out that Nottingham Uni had a dance society, and was like, right, and almost all my attention went on that as opposed to my degree. So my attention was on the dance society, entering competitions, choreographing, learning as much as I could, and doing dance classes in Nottingham city centre as well with the locals that like taught all the like foundations of hip hop and commercial dance and stuff. So yeah, I basically focused all my attention on the dancing side of things really when I was at uni. My uni mates were like, where do you go at like 6 o'clock and you come back at 9 like every day? I'm like, I'm going to dance class in central Nottingham. And so, yeah, that was my playing catch up, like I said to you before.
So yeah. Would you say your main benefit from uni then is that actually more the skills rather than the qualification, like the life skills and the skills that you've picked up in film? Have you ever had an opportunity that's come past your like successful winding career thus far that you've needed a degree in?
Mate, I think you ask anyone that has a degree that isn't specific to what they do now, and they go, I've never used my degree for anything. I think you ask anyone that did like a psychology degree and now works at Deloitte in central London, and you're like, do you use psychology? And they're like, well, no, not really. But yeah, day-to-day life skills.
For that job, at least, in Deloitte, you needed a degree to get the job.
You need a degree to get the job. So it's on paper, you need the degree. But do you use the degree?
Did you ever need your degree? You didn't need your degree ever, did you?
No, I definitely didn't need my degree.
Well, that's not me bad-mouthing higher education at all.
No,
it's just interesting, isn't it? And what the point I'm trying to make from that is some of the skills that you learn, whether it's like, you mentioned your social skills, the people skills with and having that common interest, and also probably work ethic and seeing themes of how things can link to each other are sometimes just as important than the qualification itself.
Yeah, like you said as well, the life skills, the social skills. You're just like, you're still a kid, mate. You're 18 when you go to uni. It's just so happens that in the UK you can start drinking, so it's just like, mate, the wheels are off, and it's just, let's just go. It's pretty intense. And yeah,
I'm probably just justifying the fact that I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree, and I went to left home at 16 as well.
Yeah.
So that was even crazy.
Wow. I think your options are just slightly more open if you go and do a traditional degree at a university, in terms of like the breadth of what you can apply for when you leave uni is great. But you go to dance college and you come out of it and you don't want to be a dancer or an actor or a performer. I feel like that makes it sound like you're almost back to square one, or like, are you? I don't know. Like, what's your point of view on that regarding, do you know people that did dance college and then came out and was like, I don't want to be a dancer, I hate this?
Yeah, my point of view is that people think that. I agree with you. I think that people do think that they're back to square one if they don't want to do it. And a lot of people, you know, they spend 3 years training in a certain industry. It's very practical, physical based. And you're not set up potentially with the tools of the mindset tools that you need, because 50% of the industry is like having, you know, gumption and drive and determination, because you're going to get rejected a lot, and you're going to be judged on how you look physically, and there's all these things that like come into the umbrella of probably maintaining your mental health, as well as like doing these industries. So a lot of people like quit after like 3 or 4 months if they have no success. Understandably so. Like if you're not understanding it, or you just don't like dealing with rejection, which understandably, why would you? But I think so I think, to answer your question, I think that people think that they're back to square one, but the skills that you have and learn from being a dancer, performer in these industries are like, people are crying out for them. I always use like I've done like property training before and do a little bit of investing in property. Like, if you go to these courses, certain people really stand out and get involved with networking and help other people out, and, you know, bring people together and really thrive in the people and human environment. Dancers and people like that absolutely kill it. Like, honestly, I think they've got so many skills to be worthwhile to, like, the big businesses should be calling upon creatives. And I think there's been lots of examples within industries that people have had to, unfortunately, go and do something different. And like, people are like, you know, they started at the beginning of lockdown 1, and they probably got 2 promotions by now in Tesco or something like that. They're like the manager of customer service. Like that. Like, definitely, you know, got skills to accelerate in life now. So I just think it's always best, you know, you're always where you're meant to be. I think. Do I think that? I'm not sure.
Do you think that?
I think that, yeah. I said that out loud, and I'm not sure.
I think that dancers, performers, people that like especially go to performing arts school, I think there's an ability to adapt under pressure situations, but also an ability to adapt to your surroundings. So yeah, like you said, if people are brought into even places where higher education can take you, but potentially doing a dance degree won't take you, the dancer would thrive under the social pressures of being in that situation. Whereas the guy that's had his head in his books for the last 3 years doing a higher education, a uni degree, who then is thrust into this, you know, fast paced, like, you know, world of recruitment or whatever it is, they buckle like quite often. So yeah, I think I agree with you that dance is valuable to us.
Like all your failures and everything, wherever you are in life, all the things that have come before it have got you to where you are right now.
Yeah.
Try and round that off to make sense.
Oh man, yeah.
I said,
yeah. I think that's weird, actually, for me now. Circling back to the gaming industry, I do my first gig as a host in the gaming industry and turn up, and all these guys are like stood around a table eating. Don't know why there weren't any chairs. It was a little bit weird. A canteen sort of kind of situation in Poland. Everyone spoke broken English, and I just walked straight over and put my drink down and was like, "How's everyone doing? Everyone okay?" Trying to kind of integrate myself, just because I knew no people, and I knew that they were all in the gallery, like behind the desks, you know, like the showrunners, they were the producers, they were, you know, head of graphics and sound engineers and all this kind of stuff. And they were like, and they all froze up. And I was like, I'm the fish out of water here. Like, I'm trying to have some sort of, I'm Barney, I'm the new host. Like, how's it going? And then obviously eventually it kind of, that happened, but the integration did happen. But that initial week was just like, that was painful because they're such introverts. They're the guys that have been in front of a screen for 10 years, you know, developing games or publishing or whatever it is, graphic design for the games.
Yeah, which is like that's the hard thing, isn't it? When in any social situation when integrating, like how do you be sensitive to someone else's, you know, social skills when you don't know them yet? You know, like that's it. You're always going to get thrown in with people you don't know, and sometimes you might be able to avoid it if you really don't like it. But you know, people have different comfortability with you know, social interaction.
Yeah, easing them in a one-to-one situation is the best, because I did that. I was actually thinking back. I remember now that table of guys who were all very kind of taken back when I came over and said, hey, aside from the fact that they had to try and muster up some kind of English response because they were all speaking in Polish very quickly to each other, I went over to the coffee machine, was pouring myself a coffee, and another day, like 3 days later, and one of them, I could feel him like lingering around. He was lingering and was just like stirring his tea. And I was like, "You're right?" And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And then suddenly, boom, he was in and was engaging in conversation. And I was like, okay, so getting through that barrier, it was he wanted to muster up the kind of to initiate the conversation, and then it was off to the races with the, you know, with the conversation, which was great.
So would you say you do feel comfortable meeting new people, and you are more of an extrovert in that sense?
I mean, yeah, I feel like you have to be in the situation that you're in as like a host that everyone expects you to be as well. So that's like the number one thing is it's on you to be that guy that's approachable and everyone can come to you for any adaptations in the show. Oh, we're actually going to do this instead of this. You got to be approachable from day one. Otherwise they feel like they can't tell you that something's going to change, or what do you want for lunch, or it's silly things that all kind of reflect on how you are as a person or what you're like as a person. So yeah, I feel like I'm extrovert. You know, we've worked together. Can't get me to shut up.
No, I'm a good friend of mine as well. But I have to ask these questions to make you think, and also for people to hear the answers. But do you ever feel pressure at work to, you know, be like that all the time, even if you're not like, I don't know,
you're not feeling it one day or something?
Yeah, if you're not feeling like your extrovert battery, I've heard that term coined or said before, and you know, you can't feel social all the time, and that's when things potentially go wrong, when you're like forcing it or faking it. But you feel like you have to be at work because it's your job and because that's kind of the role that you're playing.
Yeah, I think that the fortunate thing about, let's say, hosting is that you can, like, speaking is your job. So if you feel like not talking, you can kind of hint to the fact that I'm saving it for the show because I don't feel like waffling right now and then getting on set and then having to waffle for another 4 hours. That's tough in itself. And there's, fortunately, from my experiences so far, it might change in the future. I don't know. Fortunately, there's so much to do before a show. You can make yourself busy and go, if it's essential, I'll happily come and talk to you about it if it's something about the show. But if it's not about the show, I need to focus, and not in a, you know, in a kind of get away from me kind of manner. But just it's about how you do it. You can so easily say to someone that I'm really sorry, but I've really got to focus, and as opposed to, you know, throw the coffee at them and go, get out.
Play the Tom Cruise.
Oh man, did you see the mask thing? Did you hear the mask thing? The audio about people not wearing masks in the latest Mission Impossible movie. Yes. So yeah, I think that switching off the extrovert like thing. I mean, yesterday I did a Twitch stream for Clash of Clans, and it was 3.5 hours long. And afterwards, I was like it was just like drain. I couldn't move. I was just sat on this chair for a while. And yeah, couldn't do it. But for you, do you feel like, because let's say that you're maybe slightly less of an extrovert than myself in terms of, 100%, you can dial it in and out. I kind of, my dials, the glass is smashed and the dial's doing that. For you, do you feel like if you need to turn it on, like you can switch it on, but if someone requires it to be on and you're not there, can you find it, or do you have to go compose, come back?
Good question. And this is the presenter and the host, and you can't help but fire some good questions back. First of all, just from what you said, I thought I'm going to answer that question, but also just I think it's really impressive that you found ways to, not have to be like that, potentially, not feel pressure of be fake, but also taking other people's sensitivity into consideration. Like it's not about you, right? It's not about you right now. Not that I don't want to, or like I just got to do something for me, but also I can use my environment to my advantage, and it's really quite impressive.
Always before going into the industry as a dancer, model, whatever it was, my mum had a little bit of experience in the industry. She modeled, I think, until she was like 19, 20, and she just was like, it pays to be a nice person. And I was like, yeah, I get it. But, having the tools and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, but if it's between you and two other guys that for the job, and you're pretty much the same ability at what you do, or you're pretty much the same look, because let's face it, the modeling industry is as fickle as it comes. They're going to pick the person that they think they're going to get along with the most, or the person that they get along with the most. So it pays to be a nice person. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And so it doesn't mean that I'm being fake about being a nice person.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. That advice has obviously stuck with you and served you well during your career. Because I remember you told me that exact same advice the first time we were on mental health. So that must have stuck with you. Your question to me was, do I find it hard if an extrovert qualities
if they need extrovert Elliot and you're just not feeling it, can you just go, right, da-da, or is it a,
I think if I'm honest, I think I make a point not to, because I used to, because obviously from being a performer, being a dancer, no matter how you feel, the saying is the show must go on, right? You have to get on stage, you have to give you 100%. You're a product, you're there to do a show, so this is where the lines blur, isn't it? So once you're on the show doing the performance, obviously it has to be, but do you need it in rehearsal process? Do you need to be a good person to be around all the time? Like that's where the blur. But if it ever happens to me now, like I teach cycling classes, and to be the coach, you want to be motivational, you want to lead by example. But days that I go into work sometimes being the coach, not feeling great, I try and find compromise. So I try to lift myself for other people if I don't feel like it, but I also try and as a point, not lift it up to a fake level, do it with an authentic and share how I'm feeling. So I just try and communicate in a situation where somebody requires it of me, even if it's someone like a hierarchy above me. I will try my best to articulate how I'm feeling. That's not going to make them feel uncomfortable and not sound like an excuse.
Okay. Yeah. Make it not sound like an excuse is a good one.
Yes. Yeah. Because like, oh, I can't do that. I really can't do that. Really, I can't be arsed, but because I'm feeling sad. Just be honest. And since I made an effort to do that, it's always been found, honesty and communication with how you're feeling has always been. I'm always surprised by how positive everyone responds to it. Like it's refreshing, and that's what I stand by anyway. Openness is what I stand by in nearly all situations. Don't blur out stuff that's on your mind because you feel like you have to. You don't need a filter with it.
Yeah, exactly. I think honesty, is definitely appreciated across the board and you can say to someone, look, I'm just. Like, I'm good. I'm just not really feeling it today. Or like I've had that on jobs where like maybe producers come up and gone, is everything okay today? Like, you seem a bit off, or you seem a bit down. And it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just, I'm just drained. Like, it's day 3. It's the final. We've had all the rehearsals and we've had all of the, quarterfinals, semi-finals. And each day's been 6 hours live. And I'm just drained. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll get you some Red Bull, coffee, whatever you need, let's go. And it's when you're there, when you're on stage or whatever, like you're going on for a show, it's fine. Like, it just clicks. You just find it somehow and you just go. But then, it's the before and after. Well, it's before and after, however, as what you're actually judged on, I think, as a person, by your surroundings, by the production team. And it's not, and the funny thing is, it's actually about getting on with everyone. It's not just about getting on with the person that hires you. Because people underestimate how much people talk on set and in jobs. Even the runners, like that runner is going to become a director one day. And you being a knobhead to him in 5 years' time, when you try and get that job and he's the director, he'll remember you. Yeah. So just, if you're having a shite day, suck it up and just...
No, we don't mean that. I don't mean that. If you're having a shit day, suck it up. You don't endorse that statement. But it's a very interesting point. Is like, I can tell it's hard to explain it, isn't it? You do have to be pleasant to everyone. But the way that you can be pleasant to everyone is by being open and honest, I think, because I've heard that a lot of times, in social situations or in workplaces and stuff, people tend to complain when they find other people inconsistent. Yeah. To my knowledge, I definitely am. I don't know about you. You said that you don't tend to be as inconsistent, but I feel inconsistent when I'm true to my own emotions and stuff. Like, I'm not always the same level of Elliot, or whatever that is. Sure. But if you deal with that with honesty and not overshare, but tell people who you're interacting with why, or if they seem taken aback by you being different, then you explain, is always going to do better, because people then think, oh, it's me. People sometimes take it personally, that's that. If you're empathetic, you never want somebody to take it personally. It's just about what you're going through, what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that that's something that I maybe struggled with at the beginning of my career in the dancing, and then slowly starting to work in the modeling industry. There was inconsistency of me trying to be the, hey, yeah, everything's cool, great. I'm new to the dance industry, so don't hate me. And then when you, but then you develop and you feel like, oh, everyone's actually more comfortable if I'm just me. And everyone's not this, oh, God. Should have seen me when I got Britain's Got Talent as a dancer. Oh, my God. I've never been so happy and so annoying on a job in my life. Oh, my. Just like, I could sense it. I was like, I'm either way too much, or I'm just way too happy to be here because it was everyone else's 3rd, 4th, 5th time on the gig. Yeah, this is like clockwork, easy peasy. And I'm just there like, this is amazing. And everyone's like, who brought the Joker? I
think there's definitely two sides to that, though, isn't it? It's like, obviously people in that situation should be empathetic with your excitement, and it should be inspiring to like, okay, we should be grateful for what we're doing, and it is a really good place to be.
Yeah,
as well
that's
as,
how I felt.
yeah, exactly. As well as then the other side of the story is, am I being too much for people as well? So there's two sides of it. But I think there's always that element of trying. That I think that's obviously probably what you found, and I found it so much that people respond better to it, or at least the people who you want around you respond better to it if you're your authentic self, right? If you're just like actually comfortable with being you, and that takes time, especially. I feel, I don't want to generalize, but as a man, I feel like it takes time to grow into being comfortable with yourself and not seeking approval or having different interests. Like not all dancers are into playing Clash of Clans, for example.
Of course.
And your interests haven't changed that much, but you probably wouldn't lead with that. statement.
Yeah.
Know
your audience. Yeah.
But now maybe you would be, and people would find it interesting that you have different interests and stuff.
Yeah.
If you just like.
There's a balance, like with everything, isn't there? Like, don't lead with like the craziest thing about yourself when you're opening up a conversation with someone that you don't know. But then again, stay true to who you are and don't try and pull wool over their eyes to make them think that you're something that you're not. And I think that was something that I struggled with at the beginning, thinking, I don't really think too many people are warming to me. Maybe it's just because they don't know me, or maybe it's because I've come on too strong. Because I'm literally just like so excited to even just be being paid to dance, and like I only really found this passion a little bit later in life, whereas other people have kind of been doing it since they were 5, 6 or whatever, and entering tournaments, competitions, going to class. You got to think about all that excitement and enjoyment that everyone was getting from the age of like 5 and cram that into 3 years, and that's kind of what I was experiencing, and that's how I felt, and I feel very fortunate that I was able to do that, because I think a lot of people consider starting dancing that late is too late. So I felt, fortunate that happened. But and staying true to myself take for instance, like with Joe Hunt, like I think I was like a mutual friend of ours who I'm sure a few people that are watching know about as well. I think we were fortunate. I think that we wouldn't have been as close friends. Right? This is if Joe's around, or if we speak to him after, he might disagree with this. This is my point of view, but I feel like the first job we did together, it was just me and him. So we got to kind of be our truest selves from day dot, because it was like there's no one else around to judge. We could just have a laugh and enjoy this, and the job was really fun. We literally got to go to the theme park for a whole day and film a music video, so it was really fun. And we kind of connected on that. Now I thought, like, if we'd have met in like a larger group of like laddie dancers or something like that, I don't feel like the friendship would have developed so quickly so early on as it did. Much like anyone else, you put in a room with someone, you're going to connect with them more because there's no one else to interact with. But I think that having a one-to-one and like knowing someone over like the course of a dance job that maybe is longer than a few days allows people to really like settle and kind of understand you as a person. Because you meet me for one day and it's like, this dude needs to drink less Red Bull and needs to cut down the caffeine.
Well, it's the producers have given it to you, apparently. That's what you said.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, man, but I love, the people that, I can call friends in the industry and stuff. And unfortunately the circumstance right now means that everyone's super separated, and I'm a social person, like a social animal. So that's been particularly hard, not being able to kind of see people and interact and stuff. So feeling like enclosed and Groundhog Day has just not been that fun. But how's it been for you?
Oh, Lockdown
2.0.
Speak of the devil, Jim with Jaws just joined. He missed an endorsement story about himself. Well, first of all, I think, just to round off that subject of what you said, I think it's nice in hindsight to have that awareness, to be able to think about those things and really weigh them up. Do you think, you're having this, like, what do you call it? Like when you're playing tennis and you're like serving, you have like a process model loop that you do little changes to make sure you get your serve better and better. You seemed like at that point in time you were doing it socially as well. So you were like tweaking how you were for approval. Do you think that was mainly social, or were you more worried about, was the drive more to be employed and for success in career? Like, what was the balance in your side of things for?
I think that's a tough question, because that's actually so relevant on both sides. Nice one. I feel like initially it was career driven, tweaking, because I became very aware very quickly that everyone talked, and that the people that were getting hired regularly on, let's say, jobs that I felt like I was suitable for, jobs that were, the ones that I was hearing about and stuff, all naturally, tended to be friends. Everyone was like, oh, let's just employ this group of people because I know them or I've worked with them, or we know that they can do the gig, and we're all chummy and stuff like that. And there's very little wiggle room for hiring new dancers unless you have a rapport with like the choreographer or the person booking the job. I feel that's how I felt going into it. Mm-hmm. And so when you do get on those jobs, you feel a little bit forced to be able to interact on a positive level with your peers that are the ones, especially the ones that get hired all the time, or the regulars, or that are maybe a generation above you, that have a lot of influence on the industry. Because if you're good at what you do, like you don't mess up and you're a good dancer, but then you get along with them, they'll go, oh, just hire him again. It's so much word of mouth in the dance industry that there's this weird tension to be liked. I felt that quite strongly. And I think that actually had a negative effect on me, because obviously, when you try and be liked, you push people further and further away, 100%. So there was, the social aspect came after, when, bookings were a little bit more regular. Maybe I was working a little bit more, and it was like, oh, I could see us like being friends, or, oh, these people seem like good people, but I don't know how often I'm going to get booked on these jobs or get a chance to interact with these people. So maybe you feel a little bit forced to try and be friendly with them, or try and develop some sort of connection. Or do you want to go for a beer after, or something like that? I don't know. That was a little bit of that was like something that came off the back of that. I found myself working a lot in Germany as well. So that was a little bit weird, because I didn't really work with a lot of UK dancers for quite a large chunk of my dance career. And so that felt a little bit lonely, man. Like you'd go and work in like a German show, and no one's really speaking English. Everyone's kind of going off and having lunch in their little group. And it can be a lonely industry as well, man. Like you get to travel loads, you get to do loads of cool things, and you get to, you're getting paid to jet set, let's call it jet set, Ryanair set. And then, you're kind of, I get that. You're quite alone.
I really get that, because I know exactly what those social situations are like. It can be quite difficult, quite cliquey, and an extension of things that potentially you've moved away from or grown out of in school, or those more developmental years. But you can't help but, once thrown into it, like you said, react. Sometimes when you try and try too hard, or you try and acquaint yourself with people, that can sometimes push them away. It's like a natural reaction. So it's a really difficult one. How have you found, in comparison, like a lot of the people you're probably interacting now come from, just to round everything up and to connect it together, with people in this new industry, the gaming industry, which is more introverted, maybe as a general rule. Are you making good and strong connections and feel like you settled in earlier, quicker, same things arose, or how are you finding it now?
Weirdly enough, like the gaming industry, as I don't know how would you say it, not as a performer, but you fall under the category of talent, under the talent, which is like pro players, YouTubers, streamers, presenters, casters, like commentators and things like that. You're all under that talent bracket.
Yeah.
Popularity rules the roost. So whoever's got the most followers tends to have the most people, lingering around them, which is kind of like rule of thumb in celebrity world, I think, as well. If they're all kind of doing their thing. I actually feel like I can be myself, because there isn't pressure to strive to be anywhere other than where I am right now, in terms of like hosting is what I want to do. I'm not hosting isn't a stepping stone onto something else. Not that I would actually use, where I am in terms of career path and then be something that I'm not, to try and get to a better position. It's more just so I feel like I can just be myself, and I'm actually finding people gravitating towards me a little bit more, because I'm just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And I'm not talent only, mate. Did you not see the sign on the door? So, you meet people like that. And weirdly enough, the gaming industry is such a young industry that It's full of cowboys, full of people that don't really know how to navigate these social situations. And when you're so popular in terms of, let's say there's a YouTuber that has 1 million subscribers that's like at an event, they don't know how to navigate the situation. Like they don't know. So they're, shut up, Jim and Joe. They don't know how to navigate the situation of the popularity that they have. So it's a really, really dangerous wire they tread, because they either go on the, oh my God, I'm so popular. Like, I didn't even need to be here. Like, I should have actually asked for more money to be here, but you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. Like, I've met that. And then you meet the same kind of person that's actually stepped on the other side. And they're like, I actually honestly can't believe that I've been asked to do this and I'm getting paid to be here. Like, this is absolutely amazing. And I'm like, yeah, because you love gaming and you're not falling into your own popularity whirlpool. And it's a tough industry, and everyone is very young. And so I am almost a granddad. A granddad, mate. Oh my days. Like, me nearly being 30, people are like, you're nearly 30. And I'm like, yeah, I'm nearly 30. Jesus. And yeah, very young industry, governed and led by very young people. So that's why you're seeing a lot of large companies now taking control, taking the reins. And esports is now following suit of traditional sports, because they try to do it their way. It's not really working. So they're going to try and do it the traditional sports way and see how it goes. That's kind of what's happening right now.
That's really interesting. Like, it's kind of some of the points we've made already about, people starting from their bedroom is where most people start with YouTubers, streamers. So it doesn't really induce itself to having great social skills and having great success.
Yeah, exactly.
The nature of the beast. So and because people are young, they haven't maybe had the life experience to grow. I'm not, but just the themes that you see. I'm not bad man. I don't know any professional gamers.
It's a weird one. I was hosting a stage at like an expo in a gaming thing, and this guy turned up, and they were like, "Cool, so you're just going to interview this guy really briefly for half an hour, get him on stage, and then we'll let him leave," and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, "Okay." So this guy turns up, Irish, never met him before in my life, never seen him before in my life, and he turned up backstage. I was like, "How's it going? Nice to meet you. So what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a YouTuber. I play Minecraft and I do these kinds of videos. I'm a little bit nervous. So like, what questions are you going to ask me?" And I was like, "I'm going to be super generic, honestly, because I have no idea who you are. So let's just roll with like, what you do, and then I'll literally ask you 3 questions and I'll open it up to the floor. And then the people that are out there can ask you." And we had seating for like 200 people. There was like 10,000 people there fighting to get as close to the stage. And the stage was like half a meter off the floor. It's like that. It was like a step up. So literally, if one kid wanted to rush the stage, he could have. And I didn't know who this guy was. And obviously he's just like 8 million subscribers on YouTube. Really down-to-earth guy. I thought it was really cool. And just a sea of crazed people. So that was really nice to see that, because he literally lives at home and has this YouTube channel, and he doesn't know the impact that he has on the world. He doesn't know, because he's just from a tiny little area of Ireland. So that was a really nice experience, and like really humbling to see him like a deer in headlights. And then I was like, "It's okay, man. It's okay." So like, "What's your name? How old are you?" And then it was amazing. So I love a cool experience. Yeah,
and you could kind of almost disarm him and reassure him at the same time. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think dancing has been my passion for was my passion, number one passion ever since I saw Wade Robson Project on MTV when I was younger. That's what made me want to dance. And then being able to do that, and then my passion adapting slowly into stuff like hosting and streaming and gaming and stuff. I've been fortunate enough to have both of those as a career path. So that's been like massively pleased that I've been able to do that. And that the gaming industry is still going in lockdown. Like, we're so lucky. I feel really fortunate that that's
anything that can be anchored from doing it anytime, any place, not needing to go out is obviously future-proof industry in the times that we're at. I just want to make sure before we wrap things up.
Sure.
I was actually listening properly, but there's just so much good stuff you were talking about. You said that you were finding it a little bit hard, feel a little bit like locked up and caged. You were being nice and honest, and I think you posed the same question to me, really, if I was feeling the same way. But yeah, of course, I think definitely. I think a lot of people do, and it's hard because, you know, if you use that example of the sort of extrovert battery, I feel like there's two sides of it, isn't it? You're either yours is supercharged, ready to just like need stimulation and need to be like around people, or also there's that habitual thing where you get into the habit of not seeing people, and it can be a bit overwhelming as well. So there's and I feel like it's more and more prevalent to me in my life now that you can be more than one thing at the same time and have these opposing views and be a walking be a walking contradiction.
I've had to explain this to Jamie a few times as well, because I am obviously quite a sociable person, and so but I'm also super comfortable at home, and not going out actually doesn't really bother me that much. I'm happy to just be at home and relax, and because all the social needs of mine are fulfilled by going on video games with my mates in the evenings and just like chatting, catching up, kind of like we're at the pub having a conversation over a beer, just not face to face, but I'm wearing these, I got this, and I'm just chatting away for a couple of hours. And Jamie's like, you don't go out, and you don't, and I'm like, if you got to understand, I'm socializing every evening, and if you're at home, unless you're on the phone to someone, you're not getting that same social stimulus as I'm getting by playing games, which is weird how people call gamers antisocial when actually they're probably the most social people.
I think I implied that during this stream, actually, maybe by accident, through the examples that I made. But yeah, you're right, and also like people make real friendships, right? They game together for years and they've never met, like live at the other side of the world. You see all these like memes or stories about people actually
meeting for the first time,
game abroad or something like that. It's like
it's wholesome, isn't it? It's a wholesome industry, because everyone associates gamer automatically. You know, introvert, stays at home, doesn't go out and socialize. And so isn't it funny that like two people meeting for the first time in the gaming industry is like, whoa. But it is like that. It is like that, weirdly. So definitely gonna keep pursuing it. And this year, I think 2019, I was like, my goal, my ambition for this year is to get an esports contract. And then that happened at the middle of December by getting Clash of Clans. And then I did Clash for a year. And then this year, goal is to have 2 by the end of the year. Still on none, by the way. Okay. Goal is to have 2 by the end of the year. So I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Fingers crossed, mate. Well, it looks like you're on the right path to success.
Thanks.
Anyway,
Good, man.
It's always good to see what you're doing. You're always
loving mental health as well, man. This has been amazing, and I'm really proud that you've managed to keep this up and keep it going for the length of time that you have. And it's helped a lot of people, you can tell, as well as probably yourself. Some days I feel like I remember I was texting sometimes and you being like, I feel like I'm going to start having a day off. All this emotional dump of energy every day. I feel like it's getting to me a little bit now. And so it's great to see you adapting with it as well, and, cross-platforming it now. And so obviously any way that we can help, mate, just give me a shout. I'm happy to.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your support, time, energy, honesty. Really enjoyed the stream this evening, and it went really well. I didn't really know what we were going to chat about, where it was going to go, but it's lovely. But yeah, I think I got myself into hopefully a groove now, like two shows a week, and like I said, cross platforms, and try and be more efficient with it. Less streaming time, but more reach. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Yeah, exactly. And don't lose out on hope on this kind of stuff, because the streaming side on like Twitch and everything like that, it's trust me, I can say from experience, it's a slow grind, but keep doing it. Promise you, to keep doing it. Okay.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for that encouragement. I will keep doing it. And that is it. Consistency is key, right? With a lot of things.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Consistency is key, and you are obviously putting a lot of time and effort into all of this as well. And I mean, just look at the Twitch stream, mate. It's just fantastic. All these overlays, they look great. I was worried that you were going to be like, I'm going to do Twitch. And I was like, okay, but do you know what you're doing? Like, are you using the right software? And you were like, I think I am. I was like, oh God. But it looks great, man. I'm really pleasantly surprised. So it's good.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining on the live, Insta Live, people who've joined on the other platforms. And yeah, I will see you all on Thursday, 9 p.m. If not, next Monday for our next guest. Barney, legend, pleasure.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Bye, man.
See you soon, mate. Nice one.